Bonsoir Paris, il est 18 heures. Good morning for Los Angeles. And I think also good afternoon for the guest we have right now. This is Spotlight number 4, the new show of the Paris Art and Movie Awards. We're going to talk script today. This is the first guest we have who's going to talk with us about script writing and how to submit scripts to film festival and how can you make it valuable and interesting. Just as a reminder, Spotlight is a new live show. We are live of the Paris Art and Movie Awards. The Paris Art and Movie Awards, the PAMA, is the leading independent film festival in Paris, France. And we created Spotlight to create a platform to promote the filmmakers, the scriptwriters, the artists, the photographers who submit to us. And usually you have a festival as it's just 1-2 weeks of the festival and then it's over for a year, and we didn't want to do that because of what's happening right now. We all need promotion as filmmakers, as artists, as creators. So we created Spotlight, and once a week we have a different guest, and once a week we talk different aspects of creation. This is Spotlight number 4. Thank you for tuning in. Our guest today is Eva Werzowa. How are you doing?
Hello, it's Evelyne Werzowa. I
Oh
am
my God,
doing
sorry.
very well. No worries, you cut it short.
I was reading your name and I wrote it on my paper and I was trying to pronounce it right, and I was too focused on the pronunciation. I made a mistake. I'm very so sorry.
No, no problem.
Where are you right now? You told me you were in Europe.
Yeah, so I used to live in Los Angeles for 30 some years, and my husband is Austrian. So we decided, just as Trump got elected, to move to Vienna and get out of America for a little
Walk
while.
away.
Yeah. So now I'm in Vienna and it's dark and it's lockdown and it's a very interesting time.
Yeah, interesting is a word we're going to use a lot. You are from South Africa, correct?
Yeah, born in South Africa, lived there for 16 years, and then went to Los Angeles.
And you've been attending theater school in Los Angeles. Why did you
Yeah.
decide to go to the city of angels?
That's another script I wrote about getting out of South Africa during apartheid. And we had the opportunity when I was 16 to go to America. So LA was just an amazing place to move to, and climate-wise was very much like South Africa.
Kind of cool. What made you leave Los Angeles? Because you married and you went to Austria?
Yeah, it felt like it was time to try Europe. My husband's a composer and has a few projects here, so Vienna is a great place to be.
Excellent. Could you give us, you've been selected in 2019 at the Paris Art and Movie Awards with your script, All Time Girl. It's always very hard to talk about scripts because people who are going to listen to us did not read the script. So how would you give an overview of that story?
Well, thanks for accepting the script. First of all, I thought, wow, I'm in Vienna. If I could go anywhere, it would be Paris.
Yeah.
So, and then the festival looked really wonderful and really well managed. And I did some research. So I was really honored. So Old Time Girl is a story, my log line, when a rebellious young woman is down on her luck. She gets evicted and she decides to take over her grandmother's room at the old age home when her grandmother dies, and she won't move out. And so from there, a whole lot of madness and craziness ensues. She's a musician. She's sort of a rebel rise, and she gets all the old timers on this adventure, sneaking them out the home and doing a lot until she finally gets thrown out.
The next question is a question I don't usually ask during the Q&As because it's a little bit hard to answer maybe. How would you describe your writing style? When you write a script, my point is, when you have a script, you have to respect a format. You have to do it this way and this way to match the standards of the industry. But if you are good enough of a writer, and you are because you've been selected to the PAMA, how do you make it stylishly, I don't know how you say that,
Mhm.
in terms of writing, how do you make it good to stand out in a way?
Well, hopefully you're not looking to stand out. You're hopefully looking to have authentic characters that you really, really care about. Like I was just watching a couple of movies that everyone's been doing during this lockdown, like the George Clooney new movie, The Midnight Sun. I loved the film and I cared about his character from the get-go because I felt for him. And I think, and then I've been watching some other stuff and I was like, why don't I like this? So I always say, are you invested in the character? Can you get behind them? Are you engaged in their struggle? So that's one of the biggest things. And then when you have the characters pushing against them, which I have in Old Time Girl, the people at the old age
Really?
home, the opponent, what are the most interesting setups and ways can I have everybody push against them, and then what are the environments that are most interesting? So where should I place it? Oh, I'll place the love scene in a swimming pool. Oh, I'll place the death scene while she's reading porn. What are the juxtapositions that make it more
That gonna
interesting?
make it
Yeah.
sparkle. You mentioned two very, very interesting things, and I'm gonna follow up on that. You talked about characters, how the characters for you are at the center of the story and the interest of the story. Who are your main protagonists in Old Time Girl?
So my main protagonist is Olivia. She's in her 30s. She can't get her life together. She's a musician and she loves her grandmother more than anything. And she's an orphan and she's also a self-sabotager. So she's sabotaging her life. So having the character conflict really strong so she can push against everyone else. There are people who have done with life, who are sick of life, who are angry. And so someone who really wants to live is pushing against everyone else. And I think that's what creates hopefully good scenes is the conflict and then also the
And that was
objective.
my second follow-up question. There's a say that a movie is only as good as the bad guy, as the villain, the opponent in it.
Mhm.
And I just happened to watch a couple movies and even a TV show, and some I didn't really like because the opponent was not
Mhm.
good enough or interesting enough or likable enough.
Mhm.
Because what I kind of appreciate in a movie is when the bad guy or the enemy, the opponent, is still has some things you can relate to. You know what I mean? How would you describe the best opponent, the best bad guy in a movie?
That's also actually where I struggle with because I don't like the traditional opponent or the traditional opponent pushing against. It's usually the character themselves is their
Interesting.
own worst opponent. And someone I always look at is Jack Nicholson, every Jack Nicholson
Yeah.
movie. He is so likable no matter how despicable he is. And I always was like, how could they do that? So I actually have another film called Somebody's Mother, which I went to many festivals. I acted in it and wrote it, and my sister directed it. And for some people, it was very uncomfortable and difficult because the two women are not that likable. They're very flawed characters. And I think when you have very flawed women, people have a harder time, especially in Hollywood, than when you have very flawed men.
What was what was your festival strategy submitting All Time Girl to film festival? What did you want to achieve, and where did you want to go?
So there are only a few film festivals that I pick because there are just so many. So I pick ones with great reviews. There's Austin, Sundance, which I don't think I've submitted, and there was one in Italy that was wonderful that I got into. But for screenplays, I don't usually submit to festivals unless it looks really interesting. And then if I could go And I also am also a director. So if I could go with other projects in mind, then I think I do both. But for screenplays, it is difficult unless the festivals really have workshops around screenwriting, or you're going to see films as a writer, or do workshops that are compelling.
Two things. You mentioned Austin, Sundance. Obviously, everybody's going to the biggest film festivals, Sundance, TIFF, and all this kind of stuff. Cannes. How did you, for example, why did you pick the Paris Art and Movie Awards? What made us
Yeah.
what made you decide, okay, I'm gonna go there because this one looks good and I think I can have something interesting for me in it?
Well, first of all, Paris. Who doesn't want to go to Paris? So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
great. Second of all, you had great films that year. I remember looking at or the year before and going, wow, they actually have films I really want to see. And I think there were some workshops you did too. And I thought, if I'm going, I love to go for a week to festivals and you just get immersed in seeing what other filmmakers are doing and the whole environment. I love good film festivals, are really fun.
And the other thing is, you talked about workshop, and we do have networking sessions. We do have speed dating transformed into speed meetings, so filmmakers and scriptwriters can meet producers, or producer can meet actors and actresses. This works very well when we do it. For a script, it's kind of different because most of the workshop and the activities a film festival is going to put together are for movies. How do you make it worthwhile when submitting a script to a film festival? What would you like to see? What did you what in your experience? What was the best takeaway you had in film festivals?
So I've only done a few. One was Cinequest Film Festival.
It's a good
I
one.
don't know if you know that one, a
It's a
wonderful
very good one.
one.
Yeah.
And I submitted my scripts in there, and I went to their writers with two agents who gave us advice, and so that was interesting and somewhat helpful. And then I went to AFM, and there was a pitch
Mhm.
day where screenwriters could pitch their ideas to different and had different meetings. And of course, I had 5 great meetings with people and some follow up. And that's the difficult thing as a screenwriter is you
It
get
is.
follow ups and people say, let's get together, send me your stuff, and then you don't hear back. So it is an interesting, and like you, I think the goal is just to make my own films as well.
Yeah, so you have two different hats. When you go to a film festival, you are a scriptwriter, but you also are a director, which makes it doubly double for you. Very interesting.
Yeah. Mhm.
What would be your advice? I know it's always hard to give advice, but uh, where would you point? What direction would you point to the emerging scriptwriters, young scriptwriters who would say, "Okay, where should I go? With what type of film festival should I pick to submit my script to on Film Freeway?"
That's a great question. I think, first of all, write what you love, what you want to see, and then go to film festivals that show content like that, that are supportive, that you feel hold a space for merging writers or filmmakers, so you feel the energy are inspired. We all got to rebel together and feel that energy, which is contagious. Sometimes you can go to a festival and you can think there's not great energy here. Why am I here? But most festivals I've gone to, it just feels like a fun party of mad people who all want to do the same thing. Yay, we get to do what we love.
I've been there, and both kind of situations. A film
Yeah.
festival where you have when you have no energy at all. As a filmmaker
Mhm.
myself, it's like, okay, this is not a place I want to stay. I'm here, but
Mhm.
maybe I'm gonna walk away. And some other festivals that really you here, and even if you don't make it to the win, even if you don't win any prize or anything, you feel something and you meet people and you network. And when you get home, you say, "Oh, that was." Maybe one of the smallest film festival I've been to, but that was one of the best. And
Mhm.
that's the kind of feeling we try to inspire ourselves with to make the Paris Art and Movie Awards. Um, What is your writing routine? Do you write every day? Do you take notes? How does the creation process of a story comes to you?
Another good question. So, an idea has to hit me and I have to feel possessed by the idea. Then I know I'm ready to write. If I feel like, oh, I can't see sort of the log line when this happens and this happens and this happens. Oh, the world is just talking to me. Then I'm ready and I know. So first, then I'll get the idea like for this one. I used to go to yoga classes, but the classes I used to like to go to were just old people. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why am I always hanging out with old people? And I thought, oh, that would be a great script if somebody just wanted to, she preferred old people. And that's how that idea came. It just
Okay.
couldn't get out of my head. Then I had another. This is a really hard time actually to write because I feel like we're in such a precarious place
You
as
mean
human
you
beings
mean
right now.
your mind is
Yeah.
not available, the set of mind is not
No,
good to
what do I want to
create?
write about? I don't want to just write another romantic comedy because the world is in such a
Okay.
strange
So
place. I feel like I'm sort of want to write, and I'm sure you've seen this, apocalyptic films, or how we're
yeah.
going to save the earth, or who are we, or how do you be a bigger person? So how I'm writing now, the whole last year I felt really stuck because it wasn't just, oh, just another fun script. It was, what do I really want to say that's worthwhile?
So right now you are kind of writing in reaction to everything that's happened in the past year, and you want to write something positive, a romantic comedy, something funny, something light.
And that's what I used to write. Now I want to write something impactful that
Okay.
really will make a difference, not just another romantic comedy.
Okay. So what is your next project? What is your next script?
So I actually did spend the last year writing something called Hot Mess,
Hmm.
sort of in reaction to what's happening in the world. So
Sounds
woman sort of
accurate.
having a breakdown, yeah, and looking at her life, and she just it feels very, very stuck. And as she's getting hotter and having hormonal changes and feeling like the world is getting hotter and nothing, and just consumerism, having a bit of a nervous breakdown until she sort of comes to terms with that. So I've done it as a play and was ready to open here in Vienna, but because of lockdown, it's been postponed. So now I'm thinking of trying to film it.
Okay. So you want to take advantage of the situation to stay creative.
Yeah,
Okay.
trying. I don't know how to do it, but figure it out.
Back to the kind of the strategy to submitting scripts to film festivals. I'm trying again to get some value to the all those script writers who want to submit to film festivals, because it's easier for movies. It's not that easy for scripts to find the right fits for your script. Do you think film festivals right now, with all the competition that exists, do you think film festivals are still a good way to promote your script and to kind of get um, exposure?
I do think so. I think you have to be mindful and picky of what's out there. But my script also got into one in Italy, and that I don't know if you know the Social World Film Festival. So they had a whole sales market and a
Good,
sales table. So when your script was in that, then buyers had the opportunity of looking what
excellent.
was there. But it's also the tricky thing is, I think my mistake looking back, I really should have gone to Paris and gone to the night and met with people, and same
Okay,
with the Social World. I had to pick another festival. I went to one in Ireland. Out of all of them, you can't go to everyone, and if you're lucky enough to get into all of them, then pick the ones you can go to that you feel you
so
can.
that's very interesting. That
Mhm.
you want to submit when you submit to film festivals, you're going to pay the fee. So if you want to
Mhm.
make the fee worthwhile, make a selection of the film festival you really are ready to go to in
Mhm.
person, to make the most out of it. That's a very good advice, actually.
Yeah, I think so because when I went, the ones I've gone to, I've met wonderful people, people still I know, other editors, filmmakers. I ended up looking at one editor I met at a festival for a project. So it's a great way to network and meet great people.
It is. It is. Have you ever been to Paris?
I have many
You
times. I
have.
love
So
Paris.
you
Yeah.
did not miss Paris. You just missed the festival.
Yes, yes, yes. I had to pick between that and another one.
I understand. Um, as a writer and as a creator, a director, what would you say 2020 was in a way a good thing, a good moment to kind of lay back and say, okay, what do I want to do? And have time to create it or to initiate the creation of it? Or was 2020 so depressing that it kind of broke your inspiration and nothing happened to you?
Actually, I've never felt more creative. I've created little webisodes already in the process of doing those, just going out and shooting. I've created a project about the environment and COVID, and I'm in the process of doing the play and then a book. So I think it's like, wow, we have time to really drop in. What do I want to say? And then we can do it in a new way. And I think the new paradigm of how we want to create, it's a great opportunity to think, wow, what can we do that's new, that's different?
I love it. This is exactly what we are trying to do at the Paris Art and Movie Awards. We are trying
Mhm.
to kind of turn the tables around and say, we may be stuck at home, but we are living in a world that everything can be digital right now. You are in Vienna, I am in Los Angeles, and the Paris Art and Movie Awards main office is in Paris. And we are having this discussion right now about script writing, about movies, about film festivals. And maybe you and I will never meet in person in real life, but I got to know you better, and I really appreciate the time you spent with me this morning in Spotlight. What is the next thing you're gonna do this week? This is Monday.
Mhm.
What's your week gonna be about, and what are you gonna do?
So you asked about the writing schedule. Ideally, to start the day off, take the first 15 minutes and just write and stream write and get any ideas out, just whatever. And then if I'm working on a project, which I am, is go into it and write 10 pages and allow anything to come. And then as far as shooting something, I'm trying to see what you're saying is we can do things low budget now. We can green screen, we can go out and shoot by yourself or with one person. So I think there's a different way that we can create and trying to figure out what that is. With
Absolutely.
with less is more, actually, that we can create without a $10 million budget. What can we do for nothing?
Less is more, and it's maybe an opportunity right now because the industry may be more accepting different projects or projects are made in a different way because everybody knows that you have to do what you have to do to keep creating during the pandemic. And also, I want to underline one thing: all the Amazon and Netflix and Hulu, everybody, they are still in need of content. So whoever is going to be able to create content in a with a quality good enough to make it to the platforms, these people, these creators, maybe you are going to be the next one in line to stand out when everything goes back to some kind of normalcy. So I hope this is going to be your case, Evelyn.
Yeah, thank you. So let me ask you a question. What
Yeah.
makes you pick the scripts you pick? And how
Okay.
does it, because I've submitted to tons of stuff and some stuff it's like yes, finalist, and other stuff no. So I'm always curious from your standpoint.
We are a very traditional festival in that way, and we are very lucky to have a very good team of people working with us. So basically, we receive, let's say, hundreds of scripts, and we make a first selection. So you take away everything that's obviously not good enough, and you have to say sometimes we receive script that will not make it; they are not ready. And when you have that first list, then we send the scripts to the readers. So we have readers. They are script writers. They are producers. They are managers, agents. Who do we have? People working in TV, in France. So people who know when they read a script what's a good script and what's not. Then we make a second selection, and when that second selection is made, it goes to the jury members. And the jury members, you can take a look at the Paris Art and Movie Awards website. We have big names in the industry. We have people working in movies, Los Angeles, Paris, London, commercials, advertisement, publicity, everything. And this, the jury decides of who wins and who does not win. So that's how it works at the PAMA.
And that's also great from my point as a writer. When I have my bio, I have all the festivals that I've won, or all the film festivals or screenwriting awards. And so that's why I encourage writers to submit, because that got me my first agent from a few wins.
Excellent, congrats! I'm very happy to hear that. And you can also, I don't see a lot of scriptwriters do so, but I encourage them to do it. You can say, okay, you've been selected, Evelyne, in 2019 at the Paris Art and Movie Awards, and you could say my script has been considered by all these jury members that were reading the scripts in 2019. So that means even if you have not didn't make it to the win that year, that time with that script, you've been considered by top people, A-listers in the industry, and that gives credibility. We had a discussion. I think it was last week with Ian, and we discussed the fact that even if you just being selected to a film festival right now, because of the competition and so many film festivals and so many creations coming to the way of the festivals, just being selected is a huge win. And that's a way, if you know how to do it, if you are not ashamed, if you are, sometimes you don't want to be humble, and sometimes you want to say, I have been selected to the Paris Art and Movie Awards. I have been, my script has been read by these people. And these people have done that movie. So that means, in a way, you are in the club. You are in the circle of these people who are making waves in the industry, in film festivals. And I think there are new ways we can find for scripts and script writers to get more out of the film festivals. So if you guys have any ideas, send us an email. We are working on the 2021 editions of the Paris Art and Movie Awards. And we are open to any suggestions, and any way you would like to see your script promoted. We're going to be listening, and if we can, we're going to do it.
I'm going to submit my new script to the new one then.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I would love to have you again on that show, or another one, or for a Q&A.
The other thing that's helpful while I pick certain things is some of them give you notes. So you're like, oh, I'm hitting the same thing. I keep being semi-finalist. Let me submit and get feedback. And oh, wow, actually, no, this one I won. So it's such a matter of taste. So what do you want? Who do you want to surround yourself with, and go for it? And I think it's just great to be around other creatives as well to submit.
Absolutely. Evelyne, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate talking with you today, and I hope to read your next script soon.
Wonderful. Thank you. Love to LA from me. I miss it.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you want guys to submit to the Paris Art and Movie Awards, we are accepting submissions for the 2021 edition. This is now the early bird, which means it's the first deadline on Film Freeway. Now is the very best time to submit, because it's now that the fees are the lowest. So if you want to take the less of a risk financially, and if you want to be on the first script we're going to read, or on the first movie we're going to watch, now is the time. You have to know that we watch the films and we review the script and the pictures and everything we receive along the line, which means the movies we received so far, we've already started watching them, because you don't want to, at the film festival, and this is how it works, you don't want to wait to the last moment to watch the movie, because if not, you're going to have thousands of movies to watch. So if you submit right now, this is going to be we are not stressed out. We are still far away from the festival. So we're going to have time to consider your project in a way that may be good for you. So consider that, and I hope to read your script. I hope to watch your film, and I hope we're gonna talk about it very soon. Thank you so much, and we're gonna see you next week for the next episode of Spotlight. Thank you so much. Bye bye.